Let me paint you a picture of absolute automotive insanity. It's 2003, the height of the tuner era. Underground street racing is everywhere. The Fast and the Furious has convinced an entire generation that a turbo and a laptop can defeat anything. And in the middle of this madness, Dodge decides to enter the fight with a car so ridiculous, so unexpected, that the entire automotive world doesn't know whether to laugh or be terrified. They took a neon, strapped a turbo to it, and had the audacity to challenge the World Rally champion. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8, a car with WRC pedigree, all-wheel drive sophistication, and a racing heritage that spans decades. Dodge brought a compact commuter car with delusions of grandeur. And here's the thing that keeps me up at night. The neon actually won. Sometimes. This is the story of the 2003 Dodge Neon SRT-4 versus the 2003 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8. A battle that should have been a massacre, but instead became one of the greatest David versus Goliath stories in performance car history. Grab your energy drinks and aftermarket parts catalogs because we're diving into the absurdity. To understand the SRT-4, you need to understand what Dodge was thinking. They looked at the import tuner scene and said, "We can do that. We can take our Econobox, the car your grandmother considered practical, and turn it into something that terrorizes Mustang owners at stoplights. Let that marinate." The heart of this madness was a 2.4-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine. 2.4 liters. This wasn't some exotic engine developed in a racing lab. It was borrowed from the PT Cruiser. Yes, the retro wagon that looked like a hearse for millennials. Dodge rated it at 215 horsepower and 245 pound-feet of torque, officially. But here's where Dodge got absolutely brilliant. They lied. They lied about the power. When enthusiasts strapped their brand new SRT-4s to dynos, they weren't seeing 215 horsepower at the wheels minus drivetrain losses. They were seeing 223 to 248 wheel horsepower. The factory was putting out more power than advertised. In automotive marketing, that's like finding extra fries at the bottom of the bag. The transmission was a 5-speed manual, the NVG T850, and there was no automatic option. Zero. You want one? You row the gears yourself. Dodge understood that anyone buying this car wasn't looking for convenience. They were looking for chaos. And chaos they delivered. Car and driver tested the SRT-4 in December 2002, and the results were, let's call them startling. 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. 5.6 in a neon. The quarter mile? 14.2 seconds at 102 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, the contemporary Mustang GT was running similar numbers. The Nissan 350Z, the sports car enthusiasts were drooling over, was running similar numbers. And this was a compact economy car with manual crank windows in the back because Dodge was too cheap to give you power in all 4 doors. Sometimes poverty breeds ingenuity. Car and Driver said it best, and I quote, "Mustang GT and Nissan 350Z drivers, bring your pinks if you dare." That's automotive journalism code for, this thing is faster than you think, and it will embarrass you. Still with me? Good. Because now we meet the champion, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8. Let's talk pedigree. This engine, the legendary 4G63, had powered Evolutions to World Rally Championships. Tommy Mäkinen won 4 Drivers' Championships in an Evolution. This wasn't some marketing exercise. This was a street-legal race car with decades of racing DNA flowing through every component. The engine was a 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder producing 271 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. 56 more horsepower than the SRT-4, officially at least. The all-wheel drive system featured 3 differentials, Brembo brakes that could stop time itself, and a chassis tuned by engineers who had actually won things. Important things. But here's where this story gets absolutely fascinating. The Evolution 8 that Americans received was not the same car Japanese enthusiasts got. Not even close. Mitsubishi, in their infinite wisdom, decided that Americans didn't need all that fancy technology. The 2003-2004 US spec GSR was essentially stripped. No active center differential, no helical front limited slip differential. And instead of the 6-speed transmission that Japanese models received, Americans got the 5-speed from the previous generation Evo VII. Internal components for American versions were largely stripped-down versions of specifications for Japanese Lancer Evolution VIII. That's not me being dramatic. That's automotive history being documented. While the Evo VIII was conquering rally stages around the world with advanced technology, Americans were getting the simplified version, the good-enough-for-now version. Meanwhile, Dodge took the opposite approach with the SRT-4. They didn't strip anything, they added Viper-inspired bucket seats, an exhaust system that was basically muffler-free because who needs neighbors, and 17-inch Michelin Pilot sport tires. Budget Mopar said, maximum force delivery, and they meant it. I'll wait while you process that irony. Let's talk performance head-to-head. Car and Driver tested the Evo VIII in March 2003, and it hit 60 in 5.4 seconds, 0.2 faster than the SRT-4. After break-in, some examples were touching 5.0 seconds flat. The WRC heritage was showing. The quarter mile? 14.2 seconds at 98 miles per hour. Wait. Look at that trap speed. The SRT-4 ran 14.2 at 102 miles per hour. The Evo ran 14.2 at 98 miles per hour. Same quarter-mile time, but the Neon was carrying 4 miles per hour more speed through the traps. The cheaper car had more grunt at the top end. This is where physics starts laughing at expectations. The SRT-4 weighed 2,970 pounds. The Evo VIII was pushing 3,263 pounds, nearly 300 pounds heavier. Despite having 56 fewer official horsepower, the lighter SRT-4 was maximizing what it had. But here's the number that changes everything. Price. The SRT-4 started at $19,995, under $20,000. The Evo VIII, Motor Trend's as-tested example, came to $30,062. That's 50% more expensive, $10,000 more, an entire used car more expensive. For that extra 10 grand, you got all-wheel drive traction, Recaro seats, Brembo brakes, and a name that commanded respect at every car meet. But you also got 0.2 of a second. 0.2. That's the time it takes to blink. Dodge gave you 90% of the performance for 67% of the price. Now let's discuss the elephant in the room, torque steer. The SRT-4 was front-wheel drive, putting all 245 pound-feet through the front wheels. Under hard acceleration, the steering wheel would try to escape your hands like a wild animal. This wasn't a flaw, it was a feature. It separated the boys from the men, the posers from the pilots. And here's the engineering secret that made both of these cars tuner favorites: iron blocks. The SRT-4's A853 2.4-liter and the Evo's legendary 4G63 2.0-liter both used old-school iron cylinder blocks. Not fancy aluminum, cast iron. Heavy? Yes. Nearly indestructible under boost? Absolutely. While other manufacturers chased weight savings with aluminum blocks that cracked under pressure, these two engines could handle 500 to 600 horsepower reliably with bolt-ons, though pushing beyond that required built internals. The tuner community noticed immediately. The automotive press captured the shift perfectly. The Evo and STI had become the new affordable Porsches. With the Camaro discontinued in 2002, there was suddenly a vacuum in affordable performance that Japanese turbo cars rushed to fill. These machines weren't just alternatives. They were challenging traditional American performance cars as the choice for young enthusiasts. The tuner era had fully arrived. Take a moment. Breathe. It's almost over. The cultural impact was immediate and lasting. The SRT-4 became the tuner community's secret weapon. It was the car you bought when you couldn't afford an Evo or STI but refused to be slow. It was the car that proved you didn't need pedigree to have performance. You needed audacity and torque. Lots of torque. The Evo VIII, meanwhile, cemented its status as the enthusiast's dream. The WRC heritage, the all-wheel drive sophistication, the knowledge that you were driving something derived from actual championship-winning machinery, that mattered. For many, it was worth every penny of that $10,000 premium. Both cars created communities that remain passionate to this day. SRT-4 owners will tell you about their 500 horsepower builds. They're garage-tuned monsters that eat Evos for breakfast. Evo owners will remind you about WRC championships, about Tommy Mäkinen, about what real performance heritage means. And they're both right. That's the beautiful insanity of this rivalry. There was no wrong answer, just different answers for different drivers with different budgets and different tolerances for torque steer. The SRT-4 proved that American manufacturers could compete in the tuner space without billions in development budgets. Take what you have, make it faster, make it louder, make it cheaper. Let the competition explain why their race-bred technology couldn't demolish a Neon. The Evo VIII proved that heritage matters, that engineering sophistication has value beyond the stopwatch, and that sometimes you're not just buying a car, you're buying into a legacy of victory that stretches across continents and decades. So where does this leave us? The SRT-4 ran 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds for under $20,000. The Evo VIII ran 5.4 seconds for over $30,000. The quarter mile was a dead heat, 14.2 seconds, with the cheaper car carrying more speed through the traps. If you were buying pure acceleration per dollar, Dodge won decisively. If you were buying racing DNA and all-wheel drive confidence, Mitsubishi was worth every premium penny. This is Car Chronicles, where economy cars become giant killers and rally champions discover that pedigree doesn't guarantee victory. Like and subscribe for more stories of automotive underdogs that refuse to know their place. And tell me in the comments, SRT-4 or Evo VIII, which one would you choose?